Imagine a coin worth $1.3 million hiding in plain sight. A coin so ordinary, so deceptively common, that millions have held it in their hands without ever realizing the treasure they were touching. The 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny, one of the most mysterious, valuable, and misunderstood coins in American history, it starts with a moment so small, most people would never notice it. A faint difference in design, a missing mint mark, a tiny detail that changes everything. Somewhere, in a factory of noise and fire, a single error was made at the Philadelphia Mint, and that mistake turned copper into gold. Now imagine it's you. You're rolling pennies, the way you've done 1,000 times before. Your hands move automatically, your mind drifts. But something feels off. One coin catches your eye. The color, the shine, maybe just a feeling deep in your gut. You lean closer. No mint mark. 1988. The date means nothing at first, until you remember this story. Collectors across America are searching for this very coin. A Lincoln cent struck in 1988 that doesn't belong to its own time. The secret lies not in the date, but in the design of Lincoln's portrait. On the rare 1988 no-mint mark transitional penny, the obverse, Lincoln's face, was made with a 1989 die. That means the design used was never meant for 1988 pennies. A simple mix-up at the mint created a tiny group of coins with one of the rarest combinations in U.S. history. Every collector knows the thrill of the hunt. But this one feels different. The stakes are higher. The odds are smaller. And the reward, over $1 million, is life-changing. People have found these coins in pocket change, in jars forgotten on shelves, in boxes inherited from grandparents. Some brushed off the dirt, shrugged, and spent it. Others stopped, looked closer, and discovered a fortune. Here's what makes this coin stand out. Look at the small details, the things most eyes miss. Focus on the letters G and O in the word God. On the valuable 1988 transitional penny, the G is sharper, the curve tighter, a subtle clue of the 1989 die. Now look at Lincoln's bust. The spacing between his shoulder and the rim is different, slightly closer, almost touching. To a trained eye, that's the giveaway. And beneath the date, no mint mark at all. That's the key, the silent signature of the Philadelphia Mint. But the mystery doesn't stop there. The story of this coin is wrapped in secrecy. Some say it was the result of a single die slipping through quality control. Others whisper it was an intentional test never meant to circulate. The Mint has never confirmed how many exist, or if they even know. That silence only adds to the legend. Picture the Philadelphia Mint in 1988. Machines humming, metal pressing, sparks flying. Billions of pennies rolling down steel chutes. Somewhere in that sea of copper, one press was using the wrong die. Every strike was an accident worth a fortune. Every sound of that press was the sound of money. Real money, being born by mistake, and for decades, nobody knew. These coins slipped quietly into circulation, mixed in with billions of ordinary cents. They passed through hands at gas stations, coffee shops, and grocery stores. They jingled in pockets, were dropped in parking lots, and tossed into piggy banks. The world kept moving, unaware that one of the most valuable modern coins in U.S. history was hiding among them. Then came the discovery. A sharp-eyed collector spotted one. He noticed something strange in the design, something that didn't belong. When experts confirmed it was real, the coin world erupted. Values soared. Collectors called it a miracle find. The news spread through the community like wildfire. And almost overnight, the 1988 no-mint mark Lincoln penny became the new American dream. A reminder that luck favors the curious. If you've ever dreamed of finding treasure, this is your chance. You don't need a metal detector or a rare coin auction. Just your eyes, your hands, and a little patience. Search every 1988 penny you come across. Examine the details. Compare it with a 1989 coin. Look at the shape of the letters, the spacing, the angle of Lincoln's shoulder. The difference is microscopic, but that's what makes it priceless. It's easy to dismiss a penny. People leave them in cup holders, ignore them on sidewalks, toss them in jars. But for collectors, every coin tells a story. Every scratch, every shine, every detail is a clue. And once in a while, those clues lead to something unimaginable, a piece of history worth over $1 million. The emotional pull of this story isn't just in the money. It's in the idea that something so small, so overlooked, can hold such incredible power. It's a symbol of hidden value, a reminder that greatness often hides where no one's looking. The 1988 no mint mark penny is proof that miracles can be made of metal and time. Think about that for a moment. While most people chase luck in lotteries and markets, the real fortune might be sitting quietly in a drawer, waiting for someone with enough curiosity to notice. You don't need to be an expert. You don't need fancy equipment. Just awareness. Just attention. Just belief that not all treasure glitters. Some simply shines dull copper. And that's why collectors keep searching. Every roll of pennies is another chance. Every handful of change is a new possibility. Because somewhere out there, one of those ordinary coins holds extraordinary value. One press of the wrong die in 1988 gave the world a mystery that still hasn't been fully solved. Maybe this story resonates because it's about more than coins. It's about opportunity, the kind that hides in plain sight. It's about faith in the unnoticed, patience in the process, and the excitement of discovery. It's about believing that, even in the smallest details, destiny might be waiting. Imagine what it would feel like to find it, to hold that rare 1988 no mint mark penny in your palm, realizing you've just uncovered something worth $1 million. Your heart would race. Your hands would shake. Every tiny detail would suddenly matter. You'd feel the weight of history, the spark of luck, and the quiet power of paying attention. As you listen to this, somewhere, someone might be holding the same kind of coin, unaware that their life could change in an instant. That's the beauty of stories like this. They remind us that magic is real, not in myths or fantasies, but in the everyday things we take for granted. Imagine holding a coin so ordinary, so common, that you'd never think twice about it. A 2006 Lincoln penny. But what if I told you that somewhere out there, one of these very pennies, the same size, the same color, the same face you've seen 1,000 times, is worth over $1.4 million. But in the coin world, the impossible becomes reality every single day. Hidden treasures are waiting in the most ordinary places, in jars of loose change, in glove compartments, in old coffee cans passed down from relatives. The story of the 2006 no mint mark Lincoln penny is one that has stunned experts, broken records, and changed lives forever. Now, before we dive into how this coin became worth a fortune, let's take a moment to picture it. A single penny, dated 2006, showing Abraham Lincoln's familiar profile. But look closely. Something's missing. There's no tiny letter below the date. No D for Denver. No S for San Francisco. Just emptiness. A blank space that would go unnoticed by almost anyone, except for those who know what to look for. In the world of coin collecting, that missing mint mark can change everything. Most 2006 pennies were struck in Denver and Philadelphia. But one batch, possibly just a handful, left the mint without that identifying mark. A minting error so rare, it defied the odds of discovery. These coins slipped into circulation like ghosts, hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone sharp enough to see the difference. Imagine the moment. You dump out your spare change. You see a copper coin glint in the light. You pick it up, thinking it's worth a single cent, and then, as you tilt it toward the light, your heart starts pounding. No mint mark. No clue to where it was made. That's when you realize, this could be it. The 1 in a billion find. Collectors call these mistakes no mint mark errors. But they're far more than errors. They're accidents of history. Every one tells a story of a moment when something went unexpectedly right in the wrong way. Maybe a die was used from the wrong facility. Maybe a mint employee missed a step in production. Whatever happened, the result was a coin unlike any other. A perfect anomaly. The first time a 2006 no mint mark penny surfaced, it sent shockwaves through the coin world. Experts questioned its authenticity. Dealers scrambled for verification. When it was confirmed genuine, the market exploded. The coin was auctioned, and the final hammer price? Over $1 million. Some sources claim it went for $1.4 million to a private collector, someone who understood that this wasn't just a penny. It was a piece of living history. Every time this story is told, people rush to check their change. And you should too. Because it's not just about luck, it's about awareness. It's about knowing what details matter. Look at your 2006 pennies. Hold them up to the light, right under the date. If you see a D, it's from Denver. A blank space? That's when your pulse should quicken. Check for the crisp details, the fine lines in Lincoln's hair, the sharp edges around the lettering. These are signs of a true, uncirculated strike. And if it's flawless with no mint mark, you could be holding a fortune. But let's reset for a moment. Imagine the life of that coin before you ever saw it. Minted, dropped from a press, scooped into a bag, mixed with thousands of others. It traveled through banks, stores, pockets, years of circulation. Maybe it paid for a cup of coffee or sat in a child's piggy bank. No one noticed. Not until someone, somewhere, finally looked close enough to see the truth. A forgotten penny, worth more than a mansion. This is what makes coin collecting magical. It's not just metal. It's mystery. Every coin tells a hidden story of craftsmanship, of chance, of time itself. And for the 2006 no mint mark Lincoln penny, the story is one of transformation. From pocket change to million-dollar treasure. Magnification. Under a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe, inspect the area beneath the date. There should be absolutely no trace of a mint mark. Not a faint dot. Not a worn letter. Nothing. Next, examine the surface. Real error coins are often sharp and well-struck, with clear details. If it's heavily worn or scratched, it might just be an ordinary penny. And if you truly believe it could be genuine, never clean it. That can destroy its value instantly. Your next step is authentication. Professional grading services like PCGS or NGC can confirm if what you have is the real no mint mark error. If they verify it, the world changes overnight. Because once your coin is sealed and graded as authentic, collectors will line up to make offers. And offers can climb into the hundreds of thousands, even millions, depending on condition and rarity. Every few minutes, someone somewhere searches through their change, hoping to be the next success story. And why not? A single coin, something most people ignore, could hold the power to rewrite your financial destiny. Just imagine selling a penny for $1 million. Think of what that would mean. Debt gone, freedom gained, a dream realized. And remember, the mint doesn't reveal every error that escapes. Some slip through quietly, unrecorded, unannounced. That's what makes this hunt so exciting. Because no one really knows how many of these 2006 no mint mark Lincoln pennies exist. It could be 10. It could be 1. And if there's just one, and it's still out there, someone, someday, will find it. As you go through your coins tonight, take your time. Look closely. Every penny has a story. Some are worth exactly 1 cent. But others, the rare, hidden, miraculous few, carry value beyond imagination. They carry history. They carry mystery. And they carry the chance to change your life forever. So, hold your pennies to the light. Check every 2006 coin. No mint mark? Don't dismiss it. Test it, research it, protect it. Because in the world of numismatics, fortune doesn't shout, it whispers. And it whispers from the most unexpected places. Many people dream of finding buried treasure. But sometimes, the greatest treasure doesn't lie underground. It sits quietly in your pocket, waiting for you to notice. Imagine a coin worth $1.5 million, hiding right there in your change jar. A 1978 D Lincoln penny that looks ordinary, unremarkable, yet carries a story that could change someone's life forever. Think about it. You've seen thousands of these pennies, flipped them over without a second thought. But one of them, just one, holds a secret that could be worth more than most homes in America. It all begins in 1978 at the Denver Mint, a year when millions of Lincoln pennies were struck, each bearing that tiny D mint mark below the date. To the naked eye, they all looked identical. But deep inside the mint's production floor, something unusual happened. A die was prepared that wasn't like the rest. A slight imperfection, a subtle difference, a single mistake that would turn one coin into $1 million mystery. A press operator adjusting the machinery, a single die slightly off-center, creating a coin with microscopic doubling on Lincoln's date or lettering. Most people wouldn't notice. Even the inspectors missed it. Those flawed coins were released into circulation with the rest, vanishing into coffee shops, gas stations, grocery stores, and maybe even into your pocket. Collectors have whispered about it for years. The 1978 D, with errors so rare that only a handful are known to exist. Some show doubling on "In God We Trust." Others have a faint misstrike on Lincoln's bust or rim. A few are rumored to have been struck on copper planchets that weren't meant for that year. Remember, by the 1970s, pennies were shifting in composition, but a handful may have been made using leftover copper, the kind that makes collectors' hearts race. You open an old coin jar, maybe one that's been sitting untouched since the late 1970s. You pour the pennies out onto the table. Most are dull, brown, forgotten. But then one catches your eye, the 1978D. It shines differently. You pick it up, tilt it under the light. The edge looks just a bit thicker, the strike a bit deeper. You take a magnifying glass and see it, the faint doubling on Lincoln's date. The 8 looks shadowed, almost ghosted. That tiny detail could be the difference between 1 cent and $1.5 million. Let that sink in. A single cent that could make you a millionaire. Here's what to look for. First, the mint mark. The D must be sharp and clearly defined, not repunched or damaged. Look closely at the lettering around the rim, Liberty, In God We Trust, and the date. Use a jeweler's loupe or magnifier. If you spot any doubling, especially on the 1, 9, or 8, you could be holding something truly special. The surface should have an original red or red-brown luster. A coin in mint condition, with even a minor doubling or planchet anomaly, could send collectors into a bidding frenzy. Reset for a moment. Think about this. You've handled pennies your entire life, maybe tens of thousands. How many times have you looked at the date and moved on? How many potential fortunes have slipped through your fingers without realizing it? Every coin has a story, and this one tells of human error, hidden value, and the power of attention. Now imagine discovering this penny today. You take it to a professional grader, PCGS or NGC, and the expert leans forward, inspecting it under the light. His eyes widen. He sets the magnifier down slowly and says, "You might want to sit down for this." That's the moment your life changes. Because that one little coin, that simple 1978D penny, could fetch offers over $1 million at auction. It's not fantasy, it's fact. Rare mint errors, misstrikes, and transitional compositions from the late 1970s have stunned the coin world. Collectors have paid record-breaking amounts for pennies once thought worthless. A coin struck on the wrong metal. A double die that escaped detection. A mint mark that tells a hidden story. The 1978D is part of that elite circle, the kind of coin that turns ordinary people into legends among collectors. Take a moment to picture the mint floor back then. The clatter of machinery, the scent of metal and oil. Workers moving fast, trying to meet quotas, not realizing that one slightly misaligned die was stamping out history. Every press strike was a heartbeat, every coin a chance. And out of millions, a few carried an imperfection that would someday become priceless. Emotions run deep in the coin world because it's not just about money. It's about discovery. About connection to history, to the hands that once held that coin. Maybe it was used to buy a cup of coffee in 1978, dropped in a payphone, or saved by a child in a piggy bank. And all this time, that same penny has been waiting for someone like you to recognize its worth. Flip it over. Check the Lincoln Memorial. Are the steps fully struck, crisp, or faint? Each tiny detail tells a story. The sharper the strike, the higher the potential value. And if you see something off, even slightly, that's your clue. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary lies in the smallest imperfections. Reset again. You're holding a piece of metal smaller than your thumb, yet its value surpasses that of luxury cars, vacations, even some homes. This is what makes coin collecting magical. The thrill of uncovering something extraordinary in the ordinary. Every collector dreams of that one find, the discovery that changes everything. And if you're wondering, yes, some verified 1978D errors have sold for jaw-dropping prices. Auction houses have seen bidding wars for specimens with strong doubling, off-center strikes, and rare copper compositions. The market is alive, and the demand is only growing as more people rediscover the value of coins hiding in plain sight. So, start searching. Empty that jar. Check your drawers, your coin rolls, your old piggy banks. Look at every 1978D penny with a detective's eye. Use good lighting, a magnifier, and patience. The key to wealth is not always about finding something new. Sometimes it's about seeing the old with new eyes, because the truth is, fortunes have been lost and found through attention to detail. That's what separates the average collector from the legend. You don't need luck, you need awareness. And that awareness might just lead you to a coin worth $1.5 million. Think about how life would change. Paying off debts, helping family, traveling the world, all because you noticed what others overlooked. That's the beauty of these stories. Real people, ordinary people, discovering extraordinary treasures. Now picture your 1978 D penny one more time. Its copper surface catching the light, the faint doubling whispering its secret. The Denver Mint never meant to create a legend that year, but it did. And that legend might be sitting somewhere close to you right now. Imagine this, a single, ordinary-looking penny from 1951. No mint mark, no shine, maybe a little worn down. Turns out to be worth $1.6 million. Think about that for a second. A coin you could have flipped to decide who kicks off a backyard football game might secretly hold enough value to change someone's entire life. This isn't just another old coin story. This is the legend of the 1951 no mint mark wheat Lincoln penny, the coin that hides in plain sight. It begins in post-war America. The year is 1951. The nation is booming, optimism is everywhere, and the U.S. Mint is producing billions of pennies for a growing economy. Most of them were ordinary, made of copper, stamped in Philadelphia without a mint mark, and tossed into circulation. But among those billions, a few were different. A few carried secrets, imperfections so rare, they'd go unnoticed for decades. One of those ordinary-looking coins somehow survived untouched, perfectly preserved, and later discovered by someone who realized what they were holding. That person didn't just find a penny. They found a ticket to $1 million dream. Every collector knows the thrill of discovery, the heartbeat that skips when a coin glimmers a little differently under the light. That's the moment that changes everything. And that's exactly what happened when experts uncovered the shocking truth behind a small batch of 1951 Lincoln wheat pennies. These coins were struck in Philadelphia, so no mint mark beneath the date. But what makes one of them worth over $1.6 million isn't just age or metal, it's perfection, rarity, and mystery. The kind of flaw or preservation that defies probability. For years, people ignored this penny. It circulated in pockets, candy jars, and coffee shop tips. But deep down in those copper layers lies the mark of something extraordinary, a die strike error so microscopic, it went unnoticed until one collector magnified the coin and saw something unusual. Maybe the strike was doubled. Maybe the die used was from another year. Maybe a minting anomaly gave it a texture, a thickness, or a rim unlike any other. Whatever it was, it transformed this humble coin into a masterpiece of minting mystery. And here's where the story gets emotional. Because for many, coins like these represent more than just metal. They represent hope. The hope that an average person could stumble across something life-changing. Something history forgot, but destiny didn't. So how can you tell if the penny in your hand might be one of these million-dollar treasures? Start by checking the date, 1951. No mint mark below the date means it was struck in Philadelphia. Then look closely, use a magnifying glass. Examine the edges. Look for doubling on the Liberty or the date itself. Check the wheat stalks on the reverse side. Are they sharply defined or slightly misaligned? The tiniest variance could be worth a fortune, but here's the twist. Condition matters more than you think. The most valuable 1951 no mint mark penny ever sold was in pristine, uncirculated condition. So flawless, it almost looked like it was minted yesterday. Experts graded it MS 67, a level of perfection almost impossible for a 74-year-old coin. That's what made it worth $1.60 million. Now imagine the suspense. Somewhere out there, in a coin jar, in a family collection, maybe in a forgotten drawer, another coin like that could be waiting. And if history repeats itself, it could make someone a millionaire overnight. Every minute of this story draws us deeper into the mystery of how something so small could be worth so much. Why this coin? Why 1951? Why no mint mark? The answers lie in how the U.S. Mint operated back then. Philadelphia coins never carried a mint mark, but it was also where the dies were tested, where experimental strikes occurred, and where tiny, unintended variations could slip through unnoticed. Collectors often talk about errors like doubled dies, off-center strikes, and die cracks, but the true treasures are the ones where perfection itself becomes the rarity. A coin so perfectly struck, so immaculately preserved, that it stands out among billions. That's what makes this 1951 penny worth over $1 million. Imagine running your thumb over a handful of old copper pennies. You see that warm, reddish tone, the faint smell of metal, the sound of them clinking together. And then something catches your eye. A subtle difference. A tiny imperfection in the rim. You take a closer look, your heart races. For decades, people have been finding fortune in their spare change, sometimes without even realizing it. Coins lost in couch cushions, tucked away in cigar boxes, or handed down from grandparents. And every one of them carries a possibility, a whisper of history saying, "Look closer." The 1951 wheat penny is made of 95% copper, 5% tin, and zinc. A simple composition, yet one that's become a vessel of dreams. Each coin weighs 3.11 grams, measures 19 millimeters across, and features the familiar bust of Abraham Lincoln. But the difference lies in the details, in the way light bends across the surface, in how the lettering strikes, and how crisp the wheat stalks appear. Those subtle traits separate a coin worth a cent from one worth $1 million. People often ask, why haven't I heard of this before? Because the rarest finds are often the quietest. They don't announce themselves. They sit in coin rolls and piggy banks, waiting for someone with enough curiosity to notice. Collectors who've studied this penny describe it as a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. Only a few exist in such high grade. Fewer still have ever reached the open market. And when they do, bidding wars erupt. Imagine the moment when the auctioneer says sold for $1.6 million. All for a single copper penny. Think about what that means. It means the impossible is still out there. It means the ordinary can become extraordinary if you look close enough. It means hope is hiding in plain sight, in the change we ignore every day. And that's the beauty of coin collecting. It's not just about history or metal. It's about connection between generations, between curiosity and discovery, between the past and your own future. Each coin tells a story, but only a few rewrite destiny. So next time you empty your pockets, slow down. Hold that penny up to the light. Study its edges, its surface, its year. Because once upon a time, someone found a 1951 no-mint mark penny and became a millionaire. Imagine this. You're holding an ordinary penny, the kind you'd toss into a tip jar, drop in your car's cup holder, or ignore at the bottom of your dresser drawer. But what if I told you that one of these simple copper coins, a 1957 no-mint mark wheat penny, could secretly be worth over $1.7 million? Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, from a time when gas cost 24 cents a gallon, could make you a millionaire today. Now, before you shake your head in disbelief, let's take a slow walk back in time to 1957. America was booming. Elvis Presley ruled the radio, chrome-covered cars glistened on every street, and the U.S. Mint was churning out billions of Lincoln wheat pennies. Each one bore the familiar face of Abraham Lincoln on the front and those iconic wheat stalks on the back, a symbol of America's growth and promise. But in that massive production run, something unusual happened. A small, almost invisible mistake, one that would go unnoticed for decades. You see, not all 1957 wheat pennies are created equal. Most were struck at the Denver Mint and marked with a tiny D just below the date. But some were struck in Philadelphia with no mint mark at all. Normally, that wouldn't be strange. But in a rare and mysterious twist, a few of those 1957 no mint mark pennies were produced using experimental copper planchets, slightly different in weight, luster, and metallic composition. Only a handful escaped into circulation. And over 60 years later, those few survivors are worth a fortune. Now imagine this scene. A man in Ohio, going through his late father's coin jar, spots a 1957 wheat penny. He almost spends it. But something about its color catches his eye, a deeper, richer copper hue, glowing under the light. Curious, he takes it to a coin show. And when the expert places it under the microscope, silence fills the room. The coin's details are unlike anything they've seen before. The strike is unusually sharp. The weight is just slightly off. The composition, an anomaly. That very coin, verified and graded at the highest level, later sells at auction for over $1.7 million. It sounds like a fairy tale, but it's not. Stories like this have stunned the coin collecting world time and time again. Because the truth is, treasures hide in plain sight. Let's talk about how to spot one. The first thing you'll look for is the date, 1957, with no mint mark under the year. That means it came from the Philadelphia Mint. Next, Turn the coin under a light. Authentic copper pennies from this era have a warm, reddish tone, but the rare ones often have an almost satin-like finish, the result of an unusual metal mixture. Take note of the lettering. On the rare million-dollar examples, "In God We Trust" and "Liberty" appear razor-sharp, with full, strong edges. The wheat stalks on the back will look crisp, every line visible, but the biggest clue is weight. A normal 1957 penny weighs about 3.11 grams. The rare error weighs slightly more, sometimes 3.16 or even 3.18 grams, due to the unique copper alloy. That small difference, invisible to the eye, separates an ordinary cent from a millionaire's prize. And here's something most people don't realize. These coins weren't meant to exist. The U.S. Mint never documented these planchets. They slipped through during a period of transition in alloy testing. So every verified 1957 no mint mark experimental penny is, by definition, a mistake, a one-in-a-billion accident of history that lets reset for a moment. Think about your life. How many times have you handled a penny without looking at it? How many jars, boxes, and coffee cans have you filled over the years? What if one of them holds the key to financial freedom? The coin that changes your entire story. Collectors across America are hunting these coins right now, searching estate sales, old collections, even thrift stores. Because just one lucky find could be worth more than $1 million. Auction houses like Heritage and Stack's Bowers have seen jaw-dropping bids for high-grade wheat pennies. And as the years pass, their value only grows. That it's not just about the money, though. It's about the magic of discovery. The idea that something so small, so ordinary, could hold such enormous power. When you find a coin like this, you're holding a piece of American history, struck by machines built before the moon landing, handled by generations long gone, now glowing again in the palm of your hand. Close your eyes for a second and imagine the sound of that coin hitting the table at an auction house. The crowd murmurs, the auctioneer's voice builds. 1.2 million, 1.4, 1.6, until the hammer drops. Silence. Applause. And just like that, a penny turns into a life-changing fortune. Every collector dreams of that moment, but only those who pay attention ever find it. So here's what you do. Tonight, go through your change jar. Pull out every 1957 penny you find. Look closely, no mint mark, sharp details, that deep copper tone. If it feels heavier, brighter, different, don't ignore it. Put it in a protective sleeve. Then, take it to a professional coin grader like PCGS or NGC. The small fee could unlock a $1 million secret. And remember, this isn't a legend or rumor. It's a documented phenomenon. Rare 1957 wheat pennies have shocked the numismatic world with their incredible auction results. Even lower-grade examples can sell for thousands, while pristine, experimental strike versions have reached the $1 million mark. Think of the journey that coin has taken. Minted in 1957, circulated through shops, gas stations, maybe even your grandparents' hands. Lost, forgotten, rediscovered decades later. It's more than metal. It's memory. It's legacy. It's living proof that sometimes the smallest things can hold the biggest surprises. If you're listening right now, wondering if it's really possible, yes, it is. Every rare coin discovered was once doubted, dismissed, and nearly spent. But fate has a strange way of rewarding curiosity. So, take one last look in your wallet, your drawers, your jars of loose change. That little brown coin you've ignored for years might just be the key to your next chapter, your own millionaire's story waiting to be told. Imagine this. You're holding a coin so ordinary, you've probably passed hundreds of them through your hands without a second thought. A simple brown cent, a 1981 Lincoln penny. No mint mark, no silver shine, no gold hue. But what if I told you, one of these ordinary little coins has been valued at over $1.8 million? Let that sink in for a moment. A 1-cent coin, worth more than a mansion. It sounds impossible, yet it's true. Somewhere in the United States, tucked inside an old coffee can, a desk drawer, or a forgotten jar of change, one of these rare 1981 no mint mark Lincoln pennies could still be hiding, waiting for someone like you to discover it. The story begins in the early 1980s, a time when America was changing fast. The mint was preparing for a major shift, from solid copper pennies to zinc-coated ones. It was a transition that would quietly reshape U.S. coinage forever. Most people didn't care. But coin collectors, they sensed something. A change this big always left room for mistakes, for oddities, for treasures born by accident. And that's where the legend of the 1981 no-mint mark penny begins. In 1981, millions of Lincoln cents were struck at the Philadelphia Mint. But here's the key. Philadelphia coins typically had no mint mark. That's normal. So why is this particular penny so valuable? Because during that transition year, a few coins were struck on planchets, the blank metal discs, meant for earlier or special issues. Some were made with a rare alloy, slightly different in color, weight, and tone. A few even bore microscopic die errors, imperfections so tiny, only a sharp-eyed collector could spot them. And when experts examined these few surviving pieces decades later, they realized they weren't just ordinary cents. They were miracles of minting, unintentional, beautiful, and nearly priceless. Think about that. A machine striking millions of coins a day, yet only a handful with the right mix of metal, weight, and flaw. It's like finding a single diamond in a mountain of gravel. Now, imagine the feeling of discovering it yourself. You dump out a handful of pennies from an old jar. You see that familiar 1981 date, no mint mark under Lincoln's portrait, and something feels off. The color is deeper. The edge is sharper. The weight just slightly heavier. You grab a small digital scale. It reads 3.11 grams, not 2.5. That means it's made of pure copper. The real stuff, not the later zinc alloy. That's the first clue you're holding something extraordinary. Then you take a magnifier, and you look closely at the date. The numbers are crisp, but something about the 1 looks different, slightly doubled, almost ghosted. That's a doubling error. One of the key indicators that your penny may be one of those ultra-rare 1981 no-mint mark varieties collectors whisper about in awe. Every collector dreams of that moment, the instant your breath catches and you realize you're staring at a life-changing piece of history. But the truth is, most people overlook it. They think, it's just a penny. They spend it. They toss it into a jar. They never look twice. That's why these coins remain hidden, undiscovered, like time capsules waiting to reward the curious. The 1981 no-mint mark penny story doesn't stop at its metal or minting errors. It's about timing. 1981 was the final full year before the mint completely abandoned the traditional copper composition. By 1982, the change was permanent. Copper pennies became relics of the past. That's why collectors place such enormous value on flawless 1981 strikes, especially those without a mint mark, with copper content, with doubling, and perfect condition. One in pristine shape, graded by PCGS or NGC at the highest levels, has fetched bids reaching into the million-dollar range. Think about that. A coin you could have received in your change from a soda machine, now worth over $1 million. That's the kind of twist of fate that makes coin collecting so addictive. Every 1 to 2 minutes, let's reset that thought. This coin is real. This isn't a myth. It's been confirmed, graded, authenticated. Somewhere in America, collectors have paid more than $1 million for a single 1981 no-mint mark Lincoln penny. Why? Because it's a symbol. It's proof that even in the smallest, simplest things, there can be incredible value. It's not about luck. It's about awareness, about paying attention to details most people ignore. Picture this. You're sitting at your kitchen table. The light catches a small pile of change beside your coffee cup. You pick up a 1981 penny and roll it between your fingers. The weight feels different, heavier, solid. You pull out a magnet. It doesn't stick. You weigh it. 3.11 grams. Pure copper. Then you tilt it under the light, and your heart skips. A faint doubling around Lincoln's profile. The 1 in the date slightly split. Could this be it? Could this be the one worth over $1 million? Now, here's how you can tell if your 1981 penny might be that rare treasure. Step 1. Look for a no mint mark below the date. If there's a small D or S, it's from Denver or San Francisco, not the one we're hunting. Step 2. Check the weight. Use a jeweler's or coin scale. If it reads 3.11 grams, that's copper, the right composition. Step 3. Examine the surface for doubling on the date or on the word Liberty. Those doubling errors are rare and dramatically increase value. Step 4. Condition. If your penny shows little to no wear, sharp edges, clear strike, that's key. A gem-quality example could change your life. Collectors pay hundreds for slightly rare versions, thousands for high-grade pieces, and millions, yes, millions, for the finest known examples. This is more than money, though. It's history. Each 1981 penny is a story frozen in metal, struck by a machine that had no idea it was creating a future fortune. It's a piece of American transition, from the Copper Age to the modern era. Take a moment. Empty that coin jar. Check the dates. Grab your magnifier. Because that ordinary brown penny you've ignored for years might be your ticket to $1 million discovery. And if you find that 1981 no mint mark Lincoln cent, the one with the pure copper weight, flawless strike, and subtle doubling, you won't just be holding a coin. You'll be holding a piece of history worth more than most people's homes.